So what do you find with all of that forgiveness type thing? You know, where you hear that forgive but don't forget, and forget but don't forgive, and have faith. So I find faith quite dangerous when I don't know. So if let's say if you have faith, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have faith in an institution, and then if you must be seeking forgiveness,
Yeah.
and if this institution, let's say, comes in
Mm-hmm.
and you would expect based on what they write about themselves
Yeah.
that we operate like this and this, we are here for these reasons, we are here for that reason,
Mm-hmm.
but yet they keep on doing something that's opposite to that. So
Yeah.
if we want to look at it, I'm going to just use one as an
Mm-hmm.
example here.
Mm-hmm.
So we got council
Mm-hmm.
versus a housing association,
Yeah.
and the council is under the guise of coming in to help you,
Mm-hmm.
the individual. I guess it's really that there are some certain roles that they're going to fulfill. But they come in and they cover the tracks of the housing association's continuous mistakes
Yeah.
and fail to see and do, they would have seen what you see had they have followed their ruling.
Yeah.
Now, if you, the individual, were to look up how they're supposed to operate, you would see the bullet points of what their job entails and what they're supposed to look for and how they're supposed to look for it and what to do when they find these things,
Yeah.
how they're supposed to operate.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see them deviate from that path,
Yeah.
the housing association
Mm-hmm.
has a set of responsibilities that are not put in the tenancy agreement because it would be here all day reading that,
Yeah.
but a lot of it is covered in bullet points around about that. So rather than saying what type of repairs, it says all repairs.
Yeah.
This, and this, except for these ones.
Mm-hmm.
But all of this we will take. And they don't do that, and then the council doesn't operate towards that.
Yeah.
Then you've got a business.
Mm-hmm.
A business that's, I don't know, you go to a shop somewhere and they misbehave.
Yeah.
And again, you might get in touch with Trading Standards or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then Trading Standards comes, and you've got a lot of people in the community that are saying, yeah, they did that to me. Oh, they keep doing this to me as well. They keep doing this to me as well. They keep doing this to me. But then when Trading Standards come, they give them 5 out of 5 on this
Yeah.
chart.
Yeah.
You need to have then in this term that you would notice a pattern. And what's that pattern? That they're here for businesses, not you.
Yeah.
The businesses don't pay a tax towards this because they're too busy passing it on to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I think what I read under certain circumstances that they would waive a council tax to someone who owns a building in a housing association
Yeah.
up to a year. Some cases it's been a year and 6 months. And this would be waived. And then you, the person, the individual that moves into that property, they rush to get somebody else in because they don't want to pay that tax.
Yeah.
And naive people, they rely on. They also rely on people who have faith,
Yeah.
who are forgiving in nature, who are timid, who don't know what they're supposed to do. And in a society like that, it becomes very dangerous. The lack of faith in society that we see is now a reflection of individuals who are waking up to these types of systems. Because if it was you that was mucking around or doing something like the business did and you get in touch with Trading Standards, now people have a lack of faith in Trading Standards.
Yes.
And when you see it with that 5 out of 5, it makes me think, and it makes a few others, actually quite a few that have ever been in a situation like this, it makes you think, I do not trust this.
Yeah.
It's got this viewing on the shop. So obviously someone's reported them for something. I think I'm going to go elsewhere. And it would be healthy if Trading Standards were to take what people say,
Yeah.
a large amount of people, and fine these businesses. Not that they can push onto the people. And the same with the council if they took CEOs of housing associations.
Yeah.
Me, personally, running the country, I would take the CEO to court because you are the managing director
Yeah.
and you are failing to manage and direct. You, the individual that have been paid
Yeah.
to do that job,
Yeah.
and you have taken the money
Yeah.
at the end of each year,
Yeah.
and you have failed to do your job. You, court. And the courts would then say, based on whatever offences that you have committed, 10,000, 20,000, it comes out of your pocket. You go to put this on to your tenants and go to charge to make your millions into trillions and your billions into trillions, sorry. So you want to make your millions into billions and your billions into trillions. This would also constitute as another fine on top of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would think that a council that is quite capable, if you don't pay council tax, of coming into your house and seizing all of your goods inside your house and then taking these away
Yeah.
and selling them,
Selling them and
I would remove you from your company and seize your company. And you get 3 strikes, you're out of here. You can keep what you've got, but you're out. How can you take my business away? Well, how can you take my property if I don't pay a tax? You don't pay a tax, but it gets waived. And therefore, you have to have an awful lot of faith in these institutions.
yeah.
And you must seek a lot of forgiveness. You got to forgive them because you don't want to hold it on. You don't want to hold on to it. I don't hold on to it. But if you think I'm going to be maneuvering away from my standpoint, you've got another thing coming. I'm going to be standing resolute in this. You have forgiven once, and then one time it happened. 2 times it's happened. There's no way we're going to make this a third. We're going to be standing firm on this. It didn't affect me the way you hoped it would. In fact, it had the opposite effect, I'm sure. You weren't expecting that. But if you think it's just going to be a case of take you to court and sue you, is going to be enough. No, no. There are going to be changes come from this, one way or the other. Because that is what you are supposed to do. And if you can do it to the people, man, you can start doing it to your institutions that formulate. They're not your buddies. They're not your chums. Because if it's okay to protect your chums like this, then why would you put people who are in gangs and such forth, not particularly violent gangs, I'm not on about that. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
But your buddies,
Yeah. Yeah.
then I should be allowed to protect my buddies.
Yeah.
And my buddies should be allowed to protect me. Because it's no different, right? Because we're under a fair and equal society, but we are not. We're far from it. And yet everyone will be like, oh no. And then trading standards. There's multiple reports. Come on. If this was evidence collecting for a court case, someone's going to jail. Because the evidence is becoming quite clear.
Yeah.
You will be fined. If you don't like that, then you are going to lose the business. Because we're going to come in and take the assets. Oh, but then there won't be no shop. And then what are people going to do? They will build a new one. And the new shop will formulate to these ideas with the knowing that the old shop went because they were messing about, doing things that they really should not be doing. Housing associations, you would stop fucking around immediately. It would be instantaneous that you would see all the rest. Solidarity. Oh, I don't want to lose my business. I don't want to be fined. And you would see, and it can't just be a grand here and a grand there. No. Thousands. And then there would need to be some law written where it would have to be quite a substantial amount out of your profit pot to seize your bank account.
That should actually go maybe even for employees if they get some yearly benefits or something. If they neglect, they shouldn't get them. All of them to make pressure on the...
Honestly, I don't think it should be about benefit. I think it should be about seizing the managing director. After all, that is your job. It's never said, it's not written anywhere, but it should be. Just like it is not written anywhere except for a law, and we can make laws. This is very easy. Legislate that as well. That money will go into the tax pot, releasing the burden further off of the populace. And then we're able to then start making a bit more of a fair and equal society in many aspects, not just a few. Not from a man and woman perspective. Race, eye color will be next, I'm sure, because there is a disparity in that. So if we start to look at that, and gender equality and all the rest of it, then we also need this too. Because if not, it's starting to look quite obvious, really, that, you know, and then you see how faith can, you are being manipulated based on a faith. Got to forgive. But you mustn't forget. Well, forgiveness is a funny thing. It is a funny thing. I can give you another example to this, which is probably ring more true down to the individuals who've ever been in a situation. If your partner cheats, you forgive. Because you just don't want to hold on to it. Then you've got to have faith that they're not going to do it again. But they do it again. Then you forgive. Then you forgive. But you don't condone, but you forgive. Somewhere along the line, you got to make a choice. What's that choice? Stay with or leave for someone else? Throw away years or leave? Stay, leave. Stay, leave. You don't want to hold on to it. But remembering is holding on to it. When you remember, you are holding on. So to surrender and have forgiveness, I don't think change comes from forgiving. Take the big movements that have ever happened. Did they have faith?
Not in the old system, did they?
Did they forgive? Or did they make a stand and say enough is enough?
Yeah.
No more.
Yeah.
You can't forgive
Usually someone
while
was
something is ongoing.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like manipulation in disguise, which it is. It really is.
Yeah.
Because then you'll let it go, and then you'll move on, and you'll, because you don't want to be a weakling now, do you? You're holding on to it. Don't hold on to it. Forgiveness during the time. That's interesting. But that's if it's hitting you in the way that the outside world is viewing that's hitting you. Well, you're reacting, so you must have unresolved issue. Yes. Yes, I'm quite aware that if you forgive, I forgave once.
Yeah.
Here we are again. Going through the same situations again. And you're expecting me to forgive for a second time? Forgiveness means what? Walking away. Don't bring it into your future. Don't hold on to it. Let it go. It's not happening anymore. So I don't even know if I'm understanding forgiveness in the most correctest way. What does forgiveness mean?
Yeah, because they say forgive but don't forget.
But non-forgetting is not forgiving. Because you are still remembering it. And therefore, if you're still remembering it, you're bringing it into your future. Can I now trust that person? If you're still remembering it? Oh, hang on a minute. What are you remembering?
Yeah.
If you forgive them, what are you remembering? What are you holding on to, technically? Well, think about it. You're holding on to the whole lot. The way it felt. Ouch. And then to say that you're not condoning it. Hang on a minute. Hold on a second. But then now I'm not condoning. So I must remember. And if I remember, I think the choice is really a bit more than forgiveness. Is how do we navigate forwards that works for both parties involved? I think healing is more beneficial. But healing doesn't come from another side saying, I'm not going to do anything. Where is the willingness to budge so that this does not happen to somebody else? You see, speaking with the housing associations and different things like that, I saw a Facebook post today where they're saying that there should not be any more of this, and this, and social housing needs to change and rah-de-rah. And everyone starts chiming in with their comments. I wanted to just write one comment. Do you know what that comment was?
What?
How? Question mark.
Yeah.
It's all very well saying this stuff. How are you going to rectify that? How are you going to stop it? Because each party, for the best part of 15 years, have been saying the same thing repeatedly. There must be more changes to this, and this. You can say it all you want if they don't listen to you, and clearly they're not. If we've got the Housing Act that clearly states fences, hedges don't constitute as a fence or a barrier, or this, that, and the other. And this has been written since 1979, 1988.
That's quite a while, isn't it?
And if they are not doing anything about it, then clearly you can say this until you're blue in the face. But the question is, the quality question is how? Never mind the how, it will show up. No, it won't. Not from a government perspective. You need to know how. You need to know how to fix this. This is the how. The same way you repossess. How do you get people to pay their council tax? Well, we go in and repossess their property. Could that ever be used in the wrong way? Council starts getting into debt. Do they then have at their leisure? Well, you didn't pay it, so we're taking it. Well, you didn't pay it, so we're adding interest.
Can you imagine that no one would pay 1 month council tax? That they wouldn't have enough people to chase everyone, would they?
So people pay their council tax via a threat.
Yeah.
A threat that is backed up with action.
Yeah.
The threat is, if you call them up and you've ever got into any difficulty with your council tax, they will threaten you on the phone.
Yeah.
Which, under my understanding of the law, that's illegal.
Yeah.
That's a fray. Yeah. Well, no, because we accept this one. Well, no. That's a threat. That is threatening behaviour.
Just like, just like anyone
else.
A
threat is a threat, and it's how you interpret that. That is threatening behaviour.
Yeah.
And it also creates fear in people, so it's causing a response.
Yeah.
Therefore, that's a threat. If you don't come here to a job centre and do this, and this, we will not pay you. Again, threat causes fear. Fear, well, doesn't get people to comply, but it makes them act in a very strange way. Again, threatening and abusive behaviour. The question is always how you are going to rectify this. You can keep on posting your jazzy posters on Facebook, but to be honest, well, we're going to write this law and this act and this statute. Again, I've heard this throughout history. It is not working. Why is it not working? Well, because there is no threat. You can get it to work when it goes against the people, but you can't get it to work when it goes against housing associations. Let me show you how it's done. This way. You go for their money at the top because that is their job.
Yeah.
And any new order that comes in, well, you'll see from the ones that walked before you.
All the managers, not just CEO.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Everyone who's managing something and you don't see it managed in the house where you live.
Because that would be under the impression that that is fraudulent. Oh, how is that fraudulent? I'm not frauding anyone, said the Housing Association. Are you taking a rent?
Yeah. You're
taking a rent to deliver a service that isn't being delivered.
Yeah. for property that doesn't have that value because it's rubbish.
You are saying to the people that we will give you this service.
Mm.
It's no different to the service charge, and you'll remember that, Saffron. I'm sure you will.
Mm.
You were asking people to pay a service charge.
Yeah.
You were not delivering a service.
Yeah. And then telling
That
them
is fraud.
and then telling them to wash the floors and wash the windows and do everything themselves.
So people in flats,
Yeah.
this is where it got dangerous.
Yeah.
And I knew that this was an accident waiting to happen, that somebody was going to fall from the block of flats and land on the pavement down below, reaching out to try and clean their own windows.
Yeah.
Hence why this service charge was made in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't stop there, Saffron, and any other housing association. Right now, I'm going through it with Saffron. So, yes, they are going to be more predominant in my mind because based on your bad attitude and the way that you do not do the services that you are charging a rent for, well, we can make an example out of you.
Mm-hmm.
To all other housing associations and private landlords to boot,
Yeah.
that if you choose to do this, here is the consequence. That is your choice. Toe the line.
It's not much different from them basically charging the service charge and not doing anything, isn't it? For when you pay for property that is damp and moldy and something is broken here and there or doesn't work properly, and they will say that they will do this and that, but will leave the main problem or another problem, or say that it's Anglian water or something and not them, and
Yes,
avoid
this blaming,
yeah,
this whole
avoid
thing
the
of trying to get out of it, just,
Yeah.
but they're relying on tenants to be blind.
Yeah, and not to know what to do,
Yes.
and not to have enough resources to do something if
No,
they
it's
know.
not the resources, it's the knowledge.
Yeah.
No, they are responsible for this. If they're not responsible for it, you've got two options. Lower the rent, drop it right down.
Yeah.
Because then you don't need that many staff members, and then therefore, it has to be,
Yeah.
as a government, these would be the sort of changes that I would go for.
Yeah.
And this is how I would implement them. And then I would use the courts, not use the courts, but the courts
Yeah.
would make sure this is done. And they will make sure it gets done, because that is what they do.
Yeah.
Well, that's like theft. Well, it's no different from you wanting to take a tax, but if you don't pay it, you repossess all the home and the stuff inside the home.
Or you let people pay rent that is too high for the property. That's theft as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if you pay an extra £100 more, you could go for private rented
Yeah.
and have a slightly more better. They do put carpets in.
Yeah.
Got to give them credit where
Yeah.
it's due.
Yeah.
They will give you a lino floor. And the houses pretty much are painted. Some aren't.
Yeah.
But majority of them.
Yeah.
And
But
if
when
they
you,
can do it, so can you.
yeah, and when you come there first time, the house is cleaned, isn't it?
And this ain't social.
Yeah. Yeah.
This ain't social housing. And this fixes many things at once. It puts money in the pot.
So for these organizations, social means faulty and dirty.
Yes. This is how it seems to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
coming along. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why when you say to a few people, take D for example, I think you know her very well, you've met her.
Yeah.
And as soon as you say social housing, straight away,
Yeah.
you talk to anybody who is been through that, and it's straight away that
Yeah,
reaction.
they
Oh,
remember, they know. Yeah.
straight away, that repulsiveness there, is that the agenda that is needed to be put out? Oh,
Yeah, it shouldn't be like that, should it?
well, I won't be going there.
Yeah. I remember older people from my country when I was a kid. They lived in how would you say it? Maybe towns or villages or states, flats, but you wouldn't see much difference against the other ones. They were clean. Maybe they didn't have the newest heating or something, but they had good heating, good everything. They were safe.
I'm gonna have to be fair. This is a shame to the country.
Yeah, it is.
This is an absolute letdown
Yeah.
to the society of Britain.
Yeah.
And, you know, to be able to say Great Britain, this is terrible. It's almost comparison to a religion in the terms of you have to have faith. And you gotta have a lot of it
Yeah. For this. Yeah.
for this. And then you've got to have faith that when it does come to light, this stuff, that they're gonna do something to rectify it.
Yeah.
Because 90% of the time, ain't my problem, it's your problem. This is not,
Yeah.
you know,
It's not that bad. You have to somehow,
are you not grateful?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could have somebody else in there.
Yeah.
Someone that is going to appreciate it. Oh.
But if you have problem here, there, and there, it's not just a little bit problem because all together makes.
Do you know how many houses we've got?
Oh wow.
Like,
Maybe you shouldn't.
Okay, maybe
yeah.
you need to downsize and perhaps sell off a few of these and let some private landlords buy these up if they're going to look after them a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's anywhere near. It's a hell of an improvement, and I got to admit, some of these landlords out there that are private rented do a hell of a better job,
Yeah.
and they've got less resources.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic in that they have less resources,
Yeah.
and some of the rent is less than £100 more,
Yeah.
and there's carpet throughout.
Yeah.
So not all, but majority of private landlords, well, I would say know how to do it. And considering they're new in it, some of these are quite new landlords in it. I mean, and some of them are new, meaning that they're limited to the funds that they can put into something, and they can seem to achieve this. So, to me, this just looks like laziness. Just a lack of. Let's just look at it from the term and condition of they came into this house before they give it onto the council as homeless or low income or anything like that, and they okay this.
Yeah.
Do you live in buildings like this? And the answer is going to be no.
No.
If you wouldn't live in a building like this, but you okay it,
Yeah.
that is not integral.
No. It's
That is
not.
something.
No.
That is then treating people that you are so much more worthier and better than anybody else that they don't deserve your time. They don't deserve a clean house.
Yeah.
And then tarring all people, because I'm not... Hey, there is riffraff out there. But to say that this is because of one person that has caused this much destruction inside here, it's got nothing to do with it. That stops when you go and look in the loft.
Yeah.
And then when you see past jobs that have been carried out here and all of their rubbish has just been thrown in the loft, that is not tenants.
Yeah.
That's your workforce.
Yeah.
They are your workers doing that.
They do.
And then you've got your voids team that have okayed that.
Yeah.
So with all the junk that's up there, 90% of it is from old repairs, and then under the bath panel,
Under the bath panel.
where
So
they've
who
just
knows
chucked
where
away,
else? Yeah.
where they've just thrown all of their
That
their
will
rubbish.
be behind the kitchen as well. Probably when they put the newer kitchen in, they probably chucked some rugs and stuff behind that as well.
So,
behind
and
the
this begins to add up. So,
And that's their attitude towards the property, the
Yeah.
workers' attitude. People who
and these individuals
Yeah.
have dangerous and hazardous substances, and they are also treating it the same way.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Don't have to do that. Can't be bothered.
Yeah.
And if the council come in and I'm not looking at that. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But your job description as a council, individual from the council, that is your responsibility.
Yeah.
So if you ain't looking over it, they ain't looking over it. And then if government isn't looking over any of this, do you see how this breaks the backs on individuals in society?
Yeah.
Where they could be like, well, if no one else is looking after it, why should I bother?
Yeah.
If they're not sticking to the tenancy agreement, why should I?
Yeah.
So in the beginning, it looks like someone has, different tenants of, but then I find from community, when the community talk, oh, that was from one particular tenant. Then someone else will talk about another tenant. It got left. There was an empty building. Should that have been cleaned away?
Yeah.
And then it makes me wonder, what is that rent for then? Well, clearly it's for making millionaires, trillionaires, billionaires, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, there's my part on forgiveness, faith. You got to have a lot of it. You got to have a lot of it. And if it's deliberate, all of this is deliberate and targeted, man, that is something. And to forgive and walk away, one or two things. All right. Multiple things in every direction you look. No.
Like this, you
No.
see it probably elsewhere with other people as well, because that's how they operate.
That is disgusting. And yeah, I'd go straight for the CEO. Because at the end of the day, that is your job, to make sure all of these are running.
Yeah.
So
Pick your ass and go here, there, everywhere. Surprise the people who are working there, because you can see all their schedules. You can. Don't tell us you cannot, because there is a system where everyone can look.
yeah, and if you've gone to go and do a fix somewhere,
Yeah.
but they're not coming back with any junk.
Yeah. Go and observe, and then you will see. Then you can draw your conclusions. You don't have to do anything else than that, and then you see what to do. Yeah.
So there it is. And another thing with private, they don't have their own workforce. They have to hire in contractors to come and do it.
Yeah.
So if it is that we can't get the staff, no. That would be a justifiable reason as to why the building has been empty for 6 months. The contractor said they couldn't do it until this date. Oh, okay, then we will give you until a year's worth of let up on the council tax. But should you be paying it when the building is empty? Considering the Act states very clearly, but it's only occupied. So, cash cows seems like it from all directions, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where I'm going to sit this one, because, yeah, that's what I feel. So whether this hits me in a point where, I don't know, is it meant to? Because it didn't. And then do I have anger from it? No. Am I let down? Yes, I am actually. And do I feel so no, I don't feel really anything apart from it's a disgrace to this nation.
Yeah.
It's an absolute disgrace. And then it then shows me how powerless these acts and laws really are.
Yeah.
And if you can abuse it at the top, because you've got money, then why do we have to follow them and pay council tax on an act?
Yeah. And then we
and
learn...
respond to the act if the Housing Act is not being followed? It's very weak. It's weak. And I think I think some of the leaders from back in the time would be quite, disgusted that the laws and acts have got very weak.
Yeah.
So, and no longer enforceable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is how I would sort this one out. Exactly this.
Yeah.
This would be it. Yeah, they would all come in and that would be sorted.
Yeah.
But one of them did say, oh, you would think that they'd be able to charge you an extra £100, wouldn't you? No, it's social housing for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it's making millions, billions, and trillions, then no.
No. It's supposed to go towards managing and maybe a little bit towards new buildings. That's what it's for, isn't it?
But the morale of the staff members are gone. I'm pretty sure the ones that are sitting on the top of this charity, mark those words, it's a charity that makes profit.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure their morale isn't broken.
Yeah. They are happily making money.
So if it meant that they weren't there and that the money was divided into the workforce, would there be a difference? There's another question to ask yourself.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
would there be enough money left over in that pot to pay the taxes on empty buildings?
Yeah.
Because if they were paying the tax on the empty buildings, you can guarantee they'll get those repairs done pretty damn quick. Because it's eating into profit pot.
Yeah.
So no, that's where I feel with that. So no, it doesn't affect me enough to let it affect me personally. It probably should, but it inspires me to charge the chart for change.
Yeah.
That's what it does.
Yeah.
And Labour's slogan, change. Well, it's time to put the change in Labour then, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I think it's easy to go and axe people's benefits and axe the system like that from down at the bottom.
Yeah.
It might be a bit more trickier to do it this way, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, you can charge those who do not fulfill their obligations. You'll see you'll be rich, Labour.
You could be very rich, yeah.
Yeah.
You could have money to do an awful lot of stuff with that.
Yeah.
Which then can go on to further change the nation further. And I do believe that there was this lack of trust in the environment, which there is. There's loads of lack of trust, and it's not hard to see why. This would regain an awful lot of trust. People would believe what you say.
Yeah.
But right now, I think it's a very fragile system.
Yeah.
And it's teetering. So there's also a lot of other changes that need to be done, but not for a video. It's just not for a video. But I think that's where change really lies.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's, you know, it might put morale into people and put that little boost in their step, the charge in their step. Why else is depression increasing? Take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, take a look. I don't think everybody is quite as resilient as the next. And I think it takes an awful lot to suck this shit up and still be able to have a smile on your face.
Yeah.
But I don't think everybody is wired that way. And that's a choice. That is what you should choose. Not forgiveness, not let it go, not have faith. I think you should use it to charge you up. Yeah. If not, it's a wasted political system to me. And whether we vote one or vote the other, you keep getting the same results. So to me, it's like step aside and let something new come in. Because it seems to be failing. But there you are. There, I'm going to leave that one there. I think I touched the spot.